deliver internet via fiber optic, you're in the right place. And now, wireless ISPs. OurCoverage.com, providing online. Pete Grabiel and Dennis Burgess.
From Moriarty, producer of the show, Missouri. Dennis, where were you at?
CanWISP. It is the Canadian Wireless ISP Association. Very similar to WISPA, but we were up there just to make sure they kind of give them things that they have issues with. It was a decent show of sleet and ice. At least.
Yeah, you guys have been experiencing some poor weather. We've got beautiful weather out here. It's like spring without the wind.
Yeah. Actually, we've been going up and down, and then we also had too many winter, if that makes sense. So
yeah. Drove out to California to pick. I'm going to get involved in the running fiber optic near. Got to go out there, see how it operates, and see how it's going to lay fiber in the ground.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting to get into this different realm.
We've had a lot of people that have done that in the past, and we definitely have issues with. In Missouri here, we have, well, in our county, we have an export. It's called rock.
Yeah.
So, most of the time we don't see a whole lot of vibratory plows. Most of the time, when even running down the edge of the road, it's typically a full-blown, chain or one of the big disc ones that bring it all up, and then they have to do directional boring underneath the road. So it is what it is, but that's how life works. So.
And I've been in communication with the guy who does this and who's in WISPA, and he's got his own WISP, but he's doing fiber too. And fortunately, with this vibratory plow I got, it's so I can do getting a directional bore drilling machine. And I was poking around and on the web, and there's a product out there called Little Beaver. They got a video on the horizontal with not a whole lot of money. Instead of spending $15,000 for a directional bore drill machine, and an extra $5,000 for the Digitrax to tell you where the head is. I'm gonna try this Little Beaver product, and I got in this out here in New Mexico. We got tons of rock too, but out where I'm at here in Moriarty, it's a bunch of dirt and caliche, which is like clay. And so once we get the vibratory plow working and I get that directional bore drilling out in the backyard here, we got a bunch of good dirt and stuff. So we're gonna go out there and start learning how to use these toys to lay fiber.
Yeah, definitely not a bad way of going in those particular instances, because you definitely need to know how to use it, and you definitely need to know what's going on and all that kind of good stuff. So that's good, man. Congratulations on your purchase.
Cool. And then so I get back and we're doing a network upgrade to latest technology. As I tell my customers, the radio you got on the side of your house, like could be a Transio or a NanoStation 2. I tell them, that is like a brick cell phone. We've upgrade all of our tower infrastructure, and then we have you guys with brick cell phones. We want to upgrade you to the latest smartphone, if you will. And they're all for it. But this last week, we went up on last Friday and put up I was thinking I could get away with it, a 2.4. We set it up, and this is the lesson I learned. And Dennis verified it with me with a discussion yesterday. I had a single chain Ubiquity SR2 broadcasting out to people, and it works fine. Granted, there's some noise in the area, but it works fine. But what I did is I bought an Arc Wireless MIMO 2 gig antenna. We put it up there. MikroTik 5 gig dual band card. I put that in a triple digit pings to the clients. The heck with that. I had a 711 2 gig
perfectly. And we find more and more that 5 gig, it is what it is.
Big stuff and our project up. So if you'd
just so you know, this is a meetings out there. PDF up here. Excuse me. There is that they did a couple new products through. It's actually pretty country. Lots of people, things like that. Lots of Russians, things like that. So most of you probably already know about this product. This is the MANT Box 15. Now, for those of you that don't know, MikroTik probably in the past couple months has had a MANT 15 and an MANT 19, and these are just dedicated antennas that are made by MikroTik that are 120s, and they give you dual antenna connectors, so you can just connect whatever radio you wish to have. But now we have what I've been actually waiting for, which is the box version of this, the MANT Box 15 and 19. And accordingly, they are a 15 dB antenna and a 19 dB sector, so both of those products are there. But what's real nice about these are basically PoE port, mount the antenna, you router board. There's again no weatherproofing required. Everything is already in there. So here you see the MANT Box 15, and now we have the MANT Box 19. Notice the 19. You just plug your Ethernet and you're done. That's it. That is a beautiful product. Now, we do have Link Technologies, anyway, has the ANT Box 15s in stock. The 19s are already on back order, so if you want any of those, you may want to get them on order as quickly as possible. But the MANT Box 15, we do have those in stock as well. So, and again,
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So the MANT, the one with just the antennas, does it have a way for mounting up, say, your net metal or what do we got here?
You're talking about
the plastic version, the base box.
I do not believe so. Most of those are going to just be mounted to the same pole.
Yeah, you just zip tie it to the
Well, you don't zip tie. They should have clamps for the net metal or something to mount to the pole.
Gotcha, because like the MikroTik dishes, they have a mount for those net metal.
Gotcha. The answer is not to my knowledge.
Gotcha. Okay.
But again, those are still fairly new products, so you also have to think that because they are new products, that we have. Honestly, I haven't used a whole lot of the antennas. Really more interested in the boxes with the radios in, because I think that that makes it too easy. There's no you take it up there, plug it in, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So. Anyway, so continuing on here, so some other products and other things that MikroTik is coming. We have the HAP AC Lite. This is their first dual band home access point. Very, very inexpensive, $50 retail. Dual band, 2-chain, 2.4 single chain, 5 gigahertz. We have 10 100 ports on the Lite version. I want to make sure I point that out, that this is the Lite version, so we kind of have Lite product. But we do have the PoE out on port 5. So this is a perfect home unit that you would want to deploy in a home and give them 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz all at the same time, along with all the same features that you're used to with the MikroTik product. So again, the great little product there, very, very low cost.
The beauty of it is one thing they have to unplug. The power to that box, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then unplug the PoE.
Yeah, and then you just run the PoE out to your SXT or QRT or something else here. I'm going to show you in a minute. Now, let's say you have a customer that they want the best. Well, the HAP AC is a Lite version. So is there a non-Lite version? Well, of course there is. That's just called the HAP AC. These are going to be a little bit more expensive. Retail on these is $129, but now you have what they call dual gigabit concurrent home access points. So you have a 3-chain 802.11n 2.4 gigahertz and a 3-chain 802.11 AC 5 gigahertz. So not only do you have 2.4, but you also have 5 gigahertz. You also have 5 gigabit ports. You also have the SFP cage in case you want that. And again, you still have the PoE out on port 5. So again, this is the HAP AC, triple chain, 2.4, triple chain, 2.5, and all gigabit. So that is the...
What would be a computer that has a 3-chain card in it?
Well, anything that would run in or AC.
Okay.
I mean, most of your older computers, or even, I mean, my laptop's only 2 years old. It only has a 2-chain radio in it. But a lot of the new products are coming out with 2 and 3 and 4 chains. So they're coming. How's that?
More interference.
Yeah. So now let's talk about something super small. Unfortunately, this image doesn't really look very good, but this is a 2.4 gigahertz dual chain access point. You can see that the picture doesn't do it justice, because if you look at it, look at the Ethernet port. The thing is barely bigger than or thicker than the dang Ethernet cable, the Ethernet jack. Okay, think of a matchbox. That's about how small this thing is. These things retail for $25. Very nice little access point, easy to use. There is another version called just the map. So this is the lite version, and then the map is has dual Ethernet ports with PoE in and out. We've used those before as well.
Are these outdoor units?
These are not. These are for indoor.
Okay.
So some other products that they just recently released, the CCR 10009. This is a desktop with passive cooling and a single SFP. Passive cooling means just that there's no CPU fan. For that, it has a big heat sink on it, so that hopefully it can dissipate your heat as well. And I believe these run $425 is the retail. So all those products are products that kind of been out there, that we know we're coming down or already have been in the distribution channel. So let's talk about some new stuff. So one thing we're going to have is a hex PoE. So we're going to see, we're starting to see MikroTik move to the new platform, what they call the hex platform, and what we get is the hex PoE. So this is basically very similar to the power box or the older 750 UP that has the 4 PoE out ports and such. But the big thing here, if you notice, is these are gigabit ports.
Yes.
So these are this is 5 gigabit ports, and the 4 PoE out ports are also gigabit. So
right.
Again, this is something coming out. We don't have these yet. This is they're saying quarter Q2 is when they're saying, so I can't tell you, but you can, of course, give us a call. We can always put them on order for you. Usually we do a 10% down, just so you know, but you can do that. That way we know that you want them and how many you want to get started. So just FYI, they haven't announced the pricing yet on this as well. Another board they're going to have is an update for the 911 Lite board. So this is a 911 Lite AC. This is just a update for the extremely the new board. Notice it's even simpler. Look how small this thing is. Still same 4-bolt patterns as well. This is the new radio card. We have the R52 HND. This is the new replacement. Same board, but just a replacement board. Notice it has a different chipset. It's positioned a little differently. What I really find interesting, this is kind of an engineering note. I'm going to zoom in on this, or I'm going to try to anyway. Let's see here. I can.
That's a card that fits in your PCI card, right?
Yeah, this is a mini PCI slot. But something that most people don't notice here is look at these traces. Most of the time, we see traces that are very angular and right next to each other. And look at some of these big traces in components in line. I find that interesting to see, because we don't see that too often. So, and it's something dumb. It probably doesn't matter whatsoever, if you know what I mean. But I just thought that was kind of nifty. We have an update to the Groove product line. This is the Groove 52, so both 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz, but it has now a AC radio. So originally the Grooves had an in radio, so they do 5 gig in or 2.4 gig in, but now we have an AC update. And just like you would think, these products are going to come out, the metals that you've seen before, We have the new update on that. High power again, rugged. Just so you know, these things are basically a beating stick. You can like hit a baseball with these things. They're very, very tough. But we see the new update for the AC version of that as well. So
you're able to push AC speeds through a
single chain,
an old antenna, huh?
Yeah, I mean we have seen some of the metal, even the metal ends, do extremely well. 80, 90 meg, even on a single chain without a problem. And now we are seeing, especially this one here. This has the gigabit Ethernet. And we're expecting to probably see AC data rates up in the 120s, 130s on a single chain with these. So definitely a nifty little product.
Mm-hmm.
So something new. This is something we've had before, but now we have the AC version as well. And they're just starting to filter down. That's called the WAP ACs. Now, what's really neat about these is the original WAP was just a little white box, but these are ruggedized. They have WAP gigabit and dual band. So we have dual band AP. So think of this as one of those, not the hex lights, but the little dual band home units. And notice we're going to have these where basically these are rugged and outdoor. So now we have an outdoor dual band gigabit AP that we can put out there. And they actually come in both black and white now as well. So nifty things. So here's the cool thing. This is the thing people wasn't expecting at the show, and this is called the LHG Lighthead Grid. Where they got the name, I don't get that one. I'm sure there's a good story behind it. Antennas built into the wireless unit. It's all one unit, very similar to like a SXT or one of the QRTs. But notice 802.11 AN dual chain. It's going to be affordable. They're still saying Q1. And 24.5 dB antenna. That's big antenna. Big antenna. The current QRTs are 19s, big panel. And this is going to have a lot less wind loading, if you notice, because you have the grid on it. One thing I'm going to note, for those of you that are in the northern areas, that this is probably not going to be the better product. Your panel is still going to be a better product, or an SXT with a reflector. And the reason for that is that accumulate a lot of ice. So just keep that in mind with this product. So neat
with
product.
This product and it's, oh, okay. So I was going to say, if they do show you how it's set up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a pole mount, and then you have the Ethernet cable actually runs down. You can see the little output right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there it is. And then you have a little piece that pops off to where you can plug in, and you have access to everything. So
is that ruggedized plastic?
Yeah, I'm sure it's some type of plastic. Yeah. So. Neat product. We'll have to see how they come. One thing the one thing that I would be concerned with is since it's kind of a built product, it's actually fairly large. It's about a little bigger than a foot. So they don't pack well, if that makes sense. So they kind of take up a lot of space on shipping. While I do believe that they're pretty light, so I don't think that they're gonna the heaviness or them being heavy is not going to add to your shipping cost. So just keep that in mind as well. So a couple of things. So MikroTik has really changed things with the licensing. Basically, free software upgrades for life now. As long as that router board is running, you should be able to upgrade to the latest version. This has kind of been said in some of the other mums, but just in case you didn't know, there you go. So let's talk about some new Router OS features and things coming in. So first off, we have some new types. And this actually came out, if you do a system packages, you'll note one thing that's really started working, and they finally got this working well, is we can actually do an upgrade without just copying the file. You can copy the file from your computer to Winbox, to the root, and then reboot. That'll work, but they actually have an option now, check for updates. As long as the board can get DNS and can get out to the internet, it will tell you which one, and you have an option. Bug fix only, current, release candidate, and development. The development's not available just yet, but the big thing here is that you can say, hey, I want the current version that's not a release candidate, and it will check for that, tell you which one it is, and there's a download and install button. And you just hit that, and the board downloads over its internet connection, and once it's downloaded, it reboots and installs. Nice and easy.
Sweet.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, the life cycle, 632.4 is going to be bug fixes, 634.2 is current, and then anything with an RC is going to be release candidates for anything that they know. Bug fixes are always going to be, so there's 634.3, 634.4. These would be bug fixes, things like that. And then RCs are any type of release candidate. Eventually they'll become currents as well. Something else, I don't know if you guys have noticed, we have given MikroTik a hard time with their changelog. They used to be very, very bad. They didn't say a whole lot. Now they are putting in so much detail. The 634 changelog was 147 lines. Absolutely huge changelog, which is good. We're getting a lot of information on what's going on. So other things going on is the CHR. For those of you that don't know about this, the CHR is the new 64-bit architecture, runs on VMware, Hyper-V, VirtualBox, KMV, any type of virtual router. And basically it's cloud-hosted router. And this allows you to get 64-bit along with 10 gigabit throughput on VMware, Hyper-V, things like that, in a virtual environment if you wish to. So lots of those. You can see that there are current speed limits, things like that, and the pricing on the CHR product line. We do have Winbox version 3. .x. If you have not been using it, you should be, because actually some of the very new version, the latest versions require it. They'll probably say
you can't get into your newer board.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have to upgrade to that. Also, what's real nice in Winbox version 3 is there's actually a tools and update. So whenever they come up with a new Winbox, it'll actually update itself. So
this
really
looks like a Winbox for Mac.
Yeah. So with that said, all that's really, really good. I'm just going to kind of scroll through some of this stuff here, because again, this was from the mum. Aldous here, he's the wireless guru, and if he's at the show, you would want to go see him. But so they added some LNS support, LNS and LAC implementations in 635, PPPoE or L2TP in LNS mode. There's an RFC for that if you want to know that. FastPath for PPoE, very, very important for a lot of people. We're getting a lot of performance on FastPath on that. Fast Track's coming up. What
is FastPath and Fast Track?
That's really good question. So FastPath is the ability for the router. Think of it this way: is the simplest explanation is once we determine the in and out interfaces and directions it goes, the hardware forwards all the rest of the packets. So all of a sudden you drastically reduce your CPU time because the CPU is not actually looking at the packets and forwarding it on. Okay.
Ooh. Can you currently, with the latest firmware, can you implement that?
Yeah. It's been running for quite a while. A lot of people are using it. They've been adding FastPath to other in IPv4. They've been adding it to other features. A lot of bridging. You have FastPath and bridging, things like that as well. Fast Track allows you to, that's the new NAT implementation, very, very similar, but basically allows you to get gigabit speeds out of a product like the 2011, even while using NAT, and that's really the big thing in that particular case. For those of you that are using Dude, this came up in January 29th, and I noticed it right away, and I was all excited, but the Dude, the reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. There is new versions of the Dude currently in development and are currently being worked on. I'm already running a couple of them, etc. There's definitely some changes, so you need to make sure you look at the release notes on that, but they are developing with the Dude. Yay, right? So hopefully we'll get some even new features with that as well. They've changed things a little bit. There is no longer a x86 server when we go to Windows. So there is no more Windows server. A lot of my implementations are like that. The server will be implemented on two systems. Any x86 system, so it could be the CHR, but it could be also one of the old x86 platforms, or the CCR platform. So you have to have a CCR or an x86 CHR now to run the Dude server. So basically they're tying the Dude to the Dude server to a MikroTik product, which, hey, you can't really argue about it. You know what I'm saying? But you still have the Windows client. The Windows client's still there. You can still use that. And, of course, more features are going to be coming. So that is the Ljubljana MikroTik MUM in a nutshell. For those of you that are interested in MikroTik a little bit more, just so you know, there is a MikroTik user meeting coming. There's one coming up here in the U.S. April 28th and 29th. And it's actually in a really good location. I believe it's in Dallas, Texas. I'm just going to double check the venue because I don't remember. But, well, it's in Fort Worth. So, same difference, Dallas, Fort Worth. So, Dallas being a major hub for a lot of airports and a lot of airlines should provide you with great pieces of information. And, of course, we will be there. So, if you have anything that, you guys are interested in showing up, saying hi, be sure to check it out. It is coming up. You do need to register, etc. And if you call, I'm just going to give a little shameless plug here, but if you call Jim Patient, ask for Jim Patient at Link Technologies, and say, hey, I was thinking about going to the MUM, he may have a free voucher ticket for you, so you can get in for free. May. Not saying you will. Limited quantity. So definitely check that out. But there you go, American Airlines Training Center. We've actually been at that place before. So far, it's looking really good. So I look forward to seeing everybody there as well.
So, talking about shows coming up, we've got WISP America coming up. When's that? Everyone's getting ready to go to that. I don't think I'm going to be making that one this year.
You don't think you're going to make that one? Well, that sucks, but that's okay.
Yeah,
so in Louisville, Kentucky, we have the new WISP America, March 15th through the 17th, so just coming around next month. So that's really, obviously, really important that it's coming up very, very quickly. So we're going to see that shortly. That's really the big thing. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention. Everybody has filled out and filed their FCC Form 477, right?
I did.
Yay! Good job. That was due. If you did not do it, that was due yesterday. You're already late now, so you better file. Just so everybody knows, I'm going to pull this up here on my other monitor for everybody, but you do have to do this. This is a mandatory form. It is not like you can sit there and go, oh, I don't want to, or something like that. It is a mandatory form, so keep that in mind, all right? But the big thing I want to bring up is if you have no idea how to do it, we do have the towercoverage.com system, one of our platinum sponsors here. We not only have the FCC Form 477 subscription data that you can sit there and order and upload, and it'll process automatically, but we also have the subscriber data that you can also order as well. So if you need to, or I'm sorry, the deployment data. So if you need to take your map here, as it loads up there you go. So you have your map. You can go right here, order that, and you can order Google Earth, which doesn't help you, but you can also get the fixed broadband deployment data. So through towercoverage.com, you can get everything that you may need for the Form 477. There you go.
Pretty cool.
Boom. Yep. So with that said, Steve, what else you got? I think we kind of covered the European MUM. We're going to have another MUM in what is it, April? And we look forward to being out there as well.
Well, I do know that after the show, I'm going to order up that Mant Fox 15 from you.
Yep.
And also probably one of the map APs. I got an application, but very good show showing us all the latest and greatest things MikroTik. I was kind of bummed about this 2 gig upgrade I was doing because I was going to go to a pure MikroTik solution, and for advice from the MikroTik guru being you. Had I been able to do this successfully, and if I'd have gone to like NV2 InStream, would anything have gotten better, or that interference was interference and nothing's going to make it better?
So in your particular case, you had the issue that we had, or you had, you were taking 2.4 from a single pole to a dual pole, and immediately you had a what looked like significant interference issue. So this could be one of those things in which we have the issue that, simply put, now that you're using both of your systems, both of your chains, both horizontal and vertical, both of your polarities, now you're just picking up the extra interference, and that's the way it works. We have found that, especially in populated areas, more and more, we're just not getting as good of 2.4 coverage anymore. There's just so much interference. So most of the stuff we do is really with 5 gig at the in completion. So
right, and you showed us those what is it, the new HAP ACs and with the 5 gig.
Yep.
I cringe at the offering something like that, because it's just adding to the same problems we're seeing in the 2 gig.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can, but whenever we look at that, I mean, it depends on how can I put it? One thing that can occur here is that as broadband speeds increase, eventually we're going to find, and I already find this quite often, is that we just don't get the performance in 2.4 that we need to function. So in the end, we're still in kind of the same boat, if that makes sense. We have 2.4, we have 5, but we need to move out of the 2.4 just so we can get the performance that our internet connection actually has. I mean, think about some of these cable connections and such, 100, 200, 300 meg, and even faster now. You can't get that in your 2.4. So you're going to have to start deploying 5 gigahertz.
Well, and plus, I get those advertisements, 300 megs available. Well, no one in a laptop has the capacity to handle all that.
That's. I'm not going to say it's not true, but the example is that my laptop.
Off-the-shelf stuff.
Well, my laptop's a Samsung 6 series. I can get 240 meg out of my 5 gig, because it's a 2x2 5 gig AP, or a 5 gig unit. And newer devices, you know what's even worse is your phones. Because your phones, I mean, I got my phone, and it's a 2-year-old phone, but I get 205 meg out of that.
Wow.
So, go from there. It's definitely out there. You just need to figure out what you want to do, and and go from there. I don't think that most people. I think most people are going to start seeing 5 gig, and that's why we're finally starting to see the dual band stuff.
Right, and then the AC, and I saw a product from MikroTik with the three chains. Is there even a dish for such, for like a point-to-point?
For
that
3
like
chains
AC product?
Yeah, we have not seen that. There are some coming out, but we haven't seen them yet. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
So not as much as we are hoping yet.
What would be the polarity, like horizontal, vertical, and then slant?
And a slant? Yeah, is what they're saying.
Would that gobble up the whole spectrum?
It's the same difference as the dual. So, we'll have to see how that works. But I mean, we also see other products. I mean, look at Mimosa's products. Those are 4x4, but they're using 2 antennas. So they're using two chains on each polarity. So they're out there.
Yeah.
It just all depends on how it all works out.
Mm-hmm. Well, unless you've got something else to mention, I appreciate the insight into the new MikroTik stuff. I'm, like I said, getting ready to order some, and we'll see how it goes, because I'm in the middle of making more money out of the existing client base, because it's pretty much dried up. Everyone seems to have their broadband provider.
Yeah, I understand that. But yeah, we can go from there. I think we're good, unless anybody had any questions. I don't think anybody did, but I just checked and nobody did. So with that said, I think we're good.
All right, Dennis, we'll have a good week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you for listening to ISP Radio. We hope you've gained new insights and additional wisdom in our industry as well as your business. Please remember to visit our show sponsors via the links on ispradio.com. If you're interested in becoming a show sponsor, contact us at sales@ispradio.com. Now go out there and push those packets as fast as you can. Good luck and Godspeed.